Go ahead. You are
All
on.
right. So, reaching your audience, we'll get to my intro in a minute. 5 tips to maximizing your digital marketing exposure. Um, I'm briefly touching on all of these 5 things because otherwise we'd be spending about 5 days to maybe 5 months going over all of this. I am going to provide a downloadable sheet and some resources. I don't have that to give to you today, but I'll follow up or give it to Lori to follow up with you via email. Um, so really quick intro about me. And I loved hearing everyone's intros and what you're doing. And this is the most people I think I've seen at one time since last February, because I don't get out a whole lot. So, hey, I'm a digital marketing consultant, owner of 610 Digital, like Lori said. I have over 15 years experience providing web design development, PPC, social advertising, email marketing, marketing automation, as well as SEO. I started 610 back in 2014, but officially it was like 2012 when I was moonlighting in my basement while I continued to work in an agency during the day. But hey, it's been the best move I've ever made. I love it. I get to spend time with my kids who are now teenagers. My wife has a really good job, so she's doing that while I have a lot of flexibility to do the work I need to for clients, but also to just do family stuff as well. I'm a Google partner and active campaign partner agency on the marketing automation side. I'm also certified in Google Ads and Analytics. And as Lori said, I've been a chamber member probably that 2017, I think around that time. It's been at least 4 years. And I'm part of the Marketing Council as well. One other big thing I love to do is I love to educate businesses and people. So feel free to shoot me an email, which I don't have on this slide exact, but it's on my last slide. Shoot me an email with any questions you have about today's presentation or for anything for that matter. Like I said, I'm just all about educating businesses on all things digital marketing. All right, so enough about me. These are instructions for today. I'm going to give a 15-minute virtual presentation, might be 20, might be 10 if I talk too fast. But it is like the tip of the digital marketing iceberg. Lori alluded to iceberg earlier. Hey, and I said I'm going to go fast, and I'll be available for Q&A if you want to chime in. Like I said, if you have a pressing question that fits that topic, by all means, just kind of talk over me and break in, if you will. And then we'll just try to save most of them for the end when people, so we're not holding them up at past 1 o'clock or something like that. So when Lori approached me about speaking at this first chamber lunch of 2021, I had a lot of ideas come to mind, and she had some topics as well. And we ended up settling on covering these 5 tips that I'm going to talk about to give you ideas and strategies for how to improve your website, your digital marketing, and how to really attract that right audience to your site. But like I said, I'm just talking about the tip of the iceberg. And if we've got 15 days, we can do a lot more and tons of information can be shared. All right. Okay, so let's get moving here. And I'm going to touch on these 5 strategies for reaching your audience. Hopefully, they're going to be able to pique your interest and get you thinking about your own marketing and strategies. First off, I'm going to go over understanding your audience by creating what's called a persona. Be found on local searches with Google My Business. Getting to the top of search results using paid advertising. Re-engaging your site visitors and bringing them back to your website. And lastly, I'll touch on, hey, is your website content relevant to your audience? In other words, if your website could talk, SEO. You probably have heard of a lot of these different things out there. So again, I'm just going to cover some very high level of all of this. I'll probably go the deepest into personas because I'm going to guess it's something that most people on this call haven't heard of or given much thought to. It's not something that's talked about a lot. PPC is a pretty big term, SEO, even Google My Business and such like that are things that a lot of business owners are aware of, may not use them though. So Starting off with personas. What is a persona? Well, the short answer is it's a fictional character that represents your intended audience. Much like the little triangle guy here saying, hey, what do you know about me? And the guy over on the right says, well, you look happy, you have three sides, and you might be trying to dance. So he's trying to say, this is what I think you are. You're my intended audience. This is what I kind of think of you. That's what a gist of the persona would be. So to reiterate, a buyer persona is a detailed description of someone who represents your target audience. It's not a real customer, but it's a fictional person who embodies the characteristics of your best potential customer. And you're going to end up giving this person a name, demographic details like age, gender, their schooling, their education, what interests do they have, what behavioral traits do they have, and you're also going to understand their goals, their pain points, and maybe their buying patterns. Typically, small businesses would set up 2 to 3 different personas. I've worked with companies that we just create one persona. I've never been in something that I've created more than 3, but if you're a large, huge business, you might have up to 10 personas that are created. All right. So here are some ways you can use personas in your marketing strategy. 1, you're going to think about your company's current messaging. Is it centered around what you do, or is it focused on how what you do actually addresses those customers' needs? Such as sometimes we like to use a lot of corporate speak on our websites or buzzwords. Maybe your audience has no idea what that means. So you kind of want to bring it down to their level. Using buyer personas can also help you avoid using too much corporate speak, but also help you write better copy on your website, on your emails, in your social media posts, your blog posts. You basically want to write for real people and not just for your website. So what I mean is you're not going to stuff keywords in just because you want them to appear on those web pages or whatnot. You just want to have a natural sense of talking. Buyer personas, and this is probably the most important point, buyer personas keep you very focused on addressing your customers' needs and priorities instead of your own. Okay, so think of it like this. Here I have an example. You're a plumbing business, and our business, your website has something on it that says, hey, our business provides these following plumbing services. We fix leaks. We do toilet repairs. We do clogged drains. But wouldn't it be better to have copy that speaks to a person's pain point or need? Something like leaky pipes in your basement? Well, we'll stop water damage and dry things up in no time. Or, hey, got plumbing issues? No worries. We'll solve any leak, clog, or drain smell. It's just how we do business. So you're speaking to their pain points, and you're also saying these are the services we provide. You can target your social media posts and your ads more effectively when you're using personas. I'll get into that a little bit later on because I'm going to talk a little bit more about social media posts and such. Another really huge benefit of knowing personas would be segmentation and personalization. So segmenting email lists is one of them. So let's say you're an e-commerce pet toy business and you sell toys for dog toys, dog products, bird products, cat, small animal products, such like that. And you're going to send out an email about an upcoming dog promotion. You're going to give 25% off our dog toys or something like that. But you don't really want to send it to the bird owners that are just own birds that don't own dogs, because they're not going to have any desire to read the email. It's not important to them. You'll probably end up losing a few subscribers. So you really want to send that right content to the right people. You can use personas, you can use list segmentation, such like that. So a quick FYI here on that is a personalized email message can increase your click-through rates and increase your open rates by about 26%. So having very segmented emails is really good to do. Okay. And lastly, you can write blog posts that hit on your persona's demographics, pain points, and desires. maybe, like I said, if you're back to the plumbing, you could write blog posts that are saying how to fix a leaky pipe, or your basement's damp and wet, and maybe that's because there's a drip or something, or hair, how do I keep hair out of my drain, and how do I unclog things? So you're writing that kind of content that will bring organic searchers into that website. All right. Any questions so far? If you just want to chat them through, and then Lori, if you monitor, then we can just raise it up that way too. So might be good to do that. All right. Dominating local search. So if you're a local audience, so if your local audience is searching for you or for what you offer as a service or product, you'd better be found. And I think Jim definitely alluded to that earlier. Is like, you just need to be found locally. There are so many businesses out there in a small footprint of space that you best make sure that if someone's searching for your service or product, that you have a Google My Business page or other ways of being found locally, because your competitor will be found if not. So one such way of boosting your local search, like I just said, would be to use Google My Business. And if you haven't started with GMB yet, you're going to want to first off claim your listing. It's pretty simple. You search your name, you'll find the listing over on, sometimes it shows up on the right. Otherwise, you can go to business.google.com and sign up through there to get your listing. Secondly, you're going to optimize and complete your profile. Things like your business name. Is it correct? Is your address correct? Your business hours, your website URL, things like that you want to make sure are perfect. You also want to update your primary and secondary category. For instance, back to the plumbing, we're plumbing services, but maybe you also do septic systems or sewer systems or something. That could be a secondary category. You want to add a complete business description, a well-written business description that goes and tells exactly, here's our services, here's how we work for you, here how we solve your pain points. Use your personas and put that into this description, if you will. Number 5 is one feature a lot of people don't know about Google My Business is that they offer the ability to do posts, like social posts or Google posts. They could be for offers, they could be for events that are coming up in the area, or just news about your business. And they do appear on your business profile in the knowledge panel, which will be on that right side of Google, if your business comes up in that local search. Number 6, you want to upload photos, videos, and find a cadence to do that. Don't just do it one time, 3 years ago and then never put another photo up, because maybe your business has changed, or there's a new person that came in, or nicer looking photos and such like that. So keep things fresh. A lot of people will see them when they're searching that local, and you come up. I know I go around a lot of restaurants. I'll write reviews. I'll put in a lot of images. I have one. I went to a sushi restaurant in Malvern. I think the image has like over 700,000 views over the past 5 years. It's ridiculous how many people can see those things. So it is valuable to have this kind of information on your Google My Business. Number 7, you're going to want to collect reviews. If you're not collecting reviews already for your business, it's a really good thing to start. I mean, these help out. They build authority. They build trustworthiness. They give great user feedback about what you do and your services. That also, I'm going to hit on negative reviews. They're going to happen, and it's not a tremendously bad thing. Do you want them? No, but don't remove them. Most of these platforms won't let you remove them anyways, unless they are actually flagrant or hate-filled or something like that. But what you do in the event of a negative search or a negative review is you're going to want to respond to it. Say, hey, we're sorry about this, whatever, and then try to quickly move that offline. Don't go on a rant. Don't get defensive. It ends up making your business look really bad, I think. So, keep it moving and get it offline as quick as possible, into an email, onto a phone call, and just resolve the problem. Number 8 You can set up messaging. I think that's still a thing on Google My Business. I've used it in the past for some landscapers that we've done business for. They get immediate messaging right through their Google My Business app on their phone. People can ask questions. It's a really good service for those like local service providers that are out there that want that quick phone call that comes in or quick message because they want to act immediately because they know if someone is searching for lawn care or another type of service that if they don't pick up and don't respond, the person's going to go elsewhere. They have an immediate need almost for that. All right. You can add products and services to your Google My Business list. And that will help you be found in search. And lastly, again, update your hours, your NAP again, which is your name, address, and phone number. And here are some statistics on here. I'm not going to really read through them that quickly, but 46% of the people do local searches. 88% of the customers they call and visit within a day of searching from their local device. So people do act upon that. Okay. All right, so let's move on to paid advertising. Wonder if any of you are doing paid advertising or not. If you are, chat into the chat room here. If you are, if you have any questions about it, get back to me afterwards. I can always help you out with that as well. So two of the main things that I use are Google ads, Facebook ads, or Instagram ads with that as well. And they do give you a lot of potential exposure for people that are searching for your services or products. So here are some ways you can use advertising to drive traffic to your website. Paid search ads, such as Google Ads. There's also a sub version called Ad Express that can be managed through your Google My Business profile. It's pretty much you set up a list of keywords in the platform and Google just goes off and manages things for you. Give it a daily budget and they just run with it. I don't typically use that platform at all. I find it does a lot of erroneous type of searches and such, and you end up kind of wasting some money. But I manage platforms. I manage 20 different accounts right now for clients ranging from $1,000 to $5,000 a month in budget spend. And we're in there every day working on keywords, negative keywords, ad copy, and other strategies along that with ads. Some of the benefits of paid search ads are people are actively searching for your services and products. So we know that we want to come up when people are doing a search. They're also measurable, meaning I can come back and say, hey, 100 people came in for a specific keyword and the average cost is X. Maybe the overall they spent this much money at the end of the day and you made 6 conversions. So again, it's just another way you can track conversions as well. It's also a very immediate form of getting to the top of a search engine. It's like a light switch. You turn the switch on and your ads will start appearing pretty much almost instantaneously, as long as you fit into pricing and all these other things that go along with it. And then once you turn off the switch, it stops. Okay, the other side would be called like a display ad and social advertising. And a lot of people I know out there, just smaller businesses, use Facebook ads. It's a great way of just brand awareness, getting out in front of your customer base and such like that. The great thing about like a display or social ad is instead of being the active search and targeting by keywords and such, you are using demographics, interests, and behaviors to target your people. For example, on Facebook, you could target people in the Exton area that are 25 to 50 or 54 years old that are interested in service XYZ. Maybe they just, the behavior might be that they're a new homeowner. So if you're like a realtor, you could target people who are, I'm not a realtor, but if you're like a service lawn care company, someone who just moved into Exton area, you might want to target them and say, hey, we're providing lawn services for new homeowners that in this area. Or maybe they have a certain type of job. Typically, social ads are going to cost a tremendous amount less than paid ads, but it's not always the case. You can use display ads to do remarketing, which I'll talk about next. Display ads are just a great way of branding, growing awareness of your business. if you're breaking into a different area, you could use low cost display ads to just, it's like a billboard. It's like putting a billboard up somewhere and people see that. They may not act on it, but it starts to become in the back of their mind that things are going on with that. All right. As I just started talking about, remarketing ads work to bring your website visitors back to your website. And why would you do this? Well, it's because typically a person's going to take, I don't know, 3-4 times of seeing something to actually act upon it. So yes, these are the ads that you've been seeing, like you're shopping online or you visit a website, and then for the next week and a half, you see that person's website follow you around the web. Those are remarketing or retargeting ads. They do work because you're constantly seeing that brand name. On the flip side, if they're shown too much, you might get annoyed and turned off by that product or brand. So you might have a bad taste in your mouth about that. But anyways, I really like doing remarketing ads for my clients. It's just, again, it's just another way of keeping their brand and their services in front of people. So here's how remarketing ads work. They show visual display ads to your site visitors that have already visited your website. This keeps your brand top of mind and may elicit a click back to complete a sale that person might wanted to do, or they're going to come back to get more information. Maybe your remarketing ad offers an upsell or an offer or a promotion. Hey, get 10% off if you come back to my website, where when they went to your website initially, there was no promo. Okay, so you can do all that kind of stuff. You can use remarketing and retargeting on Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Pretty much any ad platform out there has some form of remarketing tag that can be used to track visitors that have come to your website and then display ads on those networks. As with display, these type of ads typically would have a pretty fairly low cost because you're already targeting a subset of people that have come to your website. You're not targeting all of, like, Chester County. You're going to just target the 400 people that might have come to your website this month. All right. So as I just was saying, here's a little diagram of how it works. You've got a visitor that comes to your site. Maybe you want them to buy something, or you want to give you their email for a sales call or download a white paper, whatever it is. They're on your site and they didn't do what you wanted. So you're going to give them a cookie. You're going to track them and basically find them elsewhere as they browse different websites. Okay, so they've been to your site, then they leave and they're cookied. Now the same visitor's out looking at other websites like news, weather, sports, I don't know, blogs, whatever kind of website it is, up pops your ad. All right. And they're going to see it. They're going to recall that, hey, I went to see that website. I forgot to go and, check out, or, oh, that's right. I was doing something. I got pulled away. Or, hey, this is great. I've been meaning to go back to that website and get more information. So again, the whole intent is just to bring them back to your website, which completes this whole full circle of an ad campaign. All right. Lastly, here is if your website could talk, which it can. We just want to make sure it's speaking the right way to the, your right personas, your right customers, and what is it hitting on your client's needs. So let me just take a sip of water. Okay, so here are 5 easy SEO tips that can get you your site optimized at a basic level in under an hour. I mean, it really doesn't take a tremendous amount of time if your website's 150 pages, you're not going to want to rank all of them anyways. You're going to rank the top pages you're going to want to do. But again, if you have a small website, this is pretty simple to go into, and especially if you're on a WordPress website, there's tools out there that I'll share in the email I send and follow up that can help you do this. This that I'm going to touch on for SEO is like the top of the iceberg. It's not even the tip. It's like the top 1 inch of the iceberg. Okay, so there's so much with SEO. This is just what we're going to do called on-page SEO. Like I said, if you're on WordPress, you can add plugins that can help do this pretty quickly. Two of the ones that I would normally use would be Yoast SEO or Rank Math. I tend to like Rank Math better. It's newer. They have a lot of really cool features with that one. They're both free, but they all both have a paid side of things. So what you want to do here is you want to make sure that your pages and your site structure follows SEO guidelines and contains what they call an H1 header tag. So this is when you're doing your site structure with the right headers. You'll have one H1 tag. Maybe that should be your page, what people see on the screen itself, or the top headline of your services page. And H2 would be, so we have plumbing services, and then we have fix leaks and we talk about that in a little blurb, and so on and so on and so on. The next is you want to use the best keywords in your body copy, but remember to write for humans. Okay. Don't just stuff in a whole bunch of words, a whole bunch of city names and such like that don't naturally sound right. You want to add alt text to all of your important images. This text is a way that screen readers and search engines can really just understand your images on the page. It also helps with ADA compliance for the American Disability Act, if your website is using those types of compliance things. And then also, lastly, is to do some quick searches of your own and take notes. What I mean by that is search how you think a customer would search to find your products. Is your website coming up? If it is it on page 2? Is it on page 3? Where is it at? Where are your competitors coming in? How are their pages titled? How are their meta tags and descriptions put into place? I think I forgot to talk about number 1, which was creating titles and descriptions. And again, you can use those tools that I mentioned to do that. Okay, so I've been here rambling on for about 25 minutes. So we're just going to quickly review, and then we can get some questions if anyone has any. Personas, create 1 to 2 fictitious personas that touch on your target audience and their likes, dislikes, their pain points, their demographics. Make sure you claim and optimize your Google My Business listings so you have a good chance of appearing in local searches. You want to look into running paid ads on Facebook or Google. If you're a B2B, you may even want to go into LinkedIn. It's a little bit more pricey, but you can target people that are directly into the industry or seniority level that you're trying to target. Along the same lines as ads, you can consider doing the remarketing. It's going to drive previous visitors back to your website where you can upsell, check out, fill out a form, yada, yada, yada. And then do some basic SEO quick covering that I just covered here in those 2 minutes. And like I said, I'm going to follow up with a download later this week. And I think that's probably all I had to ramble on here in this first Lunch and Learn, and probably blow up your heads a little bit with a lot of information in a little amount of time. Again, just covering the very, very basics of all of those to give you, hey, these are things that are out there that can and should be done to your website. You don't have to do everything. You pick and choose depending on budget, timing, resources, whether you want to hire out. So that's where we are. And here's my information. Jeff at 610 Digital. I've got my LinkedIn, Twitter if you use that, and I'll send the slide out there as well. But if you copy that down, you can go get that and look over this as well. All right.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Hallie, you can unmute.
Thank you. That was very informative, Jeff. And you did put a lot in a little bit of time, and that was great. Question for you about remarketing. That's kind of a new concept to me. And I'm just curious, they have to go to your site first for that to work. They need to be at your website in order for the remarketing to work, correct? Because it's to bring them back. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, correct. They first come to your website, you put specific tracking code on your website. So that way we know who's coming to the site. Usually you can use it with Google Analytics. There's specific, if you're doing Facebook, you need to put the pixel on the page. So there's things that you put on the website that then understands, yeah, this person came to my site. Now I can show them ads on Google or Facebook or Instagram.
Thank you.
What's a budget? Like what's a fair budget, say, for Google Ads and Facebook?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have worked with businesses that are doing $300 a month. Now, it's not going to get you a whole lot, but it's going to get you started. Typically, I do $1,000 a month budget clients because I have more to work with. We can bring in a little bit more data. Easy math on this one. Let's just say you're doing $300 a month, $10 a day. If you got a $2 click cost per click, you can get 5 people that could click through your ads a day. All right. Chances of one of them probably converting is going to be slim. You're going to need numbers to get that in there. So I'm just giving you big generalities on this one, but I've done $300, $500 budgets. I've done 1,000. And Facebook, you could usually do a little bit less too. Like you could probably do $100 a month to start.
Unless you can't advertise on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, unless you're a business that can't advertise on Facebook for their
Like me.
awesome regulations that they have.
Does anybody else have any questions? Comments? Things that work for them?
I do. Jeff, we currently are doing a lot of Facebook paid advertising in Google. We are in about the $500 a month for Google, I think. We're doing okay. I definitely am going to chat with you about maybe upping our game a little bit. But my biggest thing is the amount of people who, and I know you can't stop this, but waste your money on just typing stupid responses back. Mm-hmm. Is it okay to hide those responses that are so absurd that I'm like...
You mean like reviews and stuff?
No, not reviews, like on our paid ads on Facebook and so forth. They'll respond because we have a lot of COVID disinfecting. And I mean, there's just some crazy, crazy comments that come in and I'm like, all right, that's so absurd. And I just hide them. Is that okay? Does that look terrible?
I mean, on a Facebook post, yeah, I think you could hide those for sure. If they're not relevant to the messaging and such like that. Yeah. I don't think there's a way to turn that off either, but they are annoying. I've seen that, you know, and people just go on a rant. And then once one person's on a rant, everyone else joins in and it just, and each one of those is actually using up money from your Facebook ads if you're running, because every time someone likes, comments, shares the first time, or even opens up that post, it does count as a click. And that's why the click cost of Facebook is a little bit less, but you really want to track people back to your landing page. And then there's a hidden field in the Facebook metrics because there's probably 300 things you can look at from Facebook ads. One of them you'd want to look at is landing page visits, but you also want to make sure you have that Facebook pixel on your site that understands that people did come to your site. And then you're getting a truer picture of, is your ad getting people to your site rather than just having them engage with it.
Right. That's half of our.
Yeah, I would hide the really weird ones, you know.
My other half of that question is we get a lot of interests that come in like, hey, tell us more about blah, blah, blah. But we have the hardest time getting people to actually give us their information that we can reach back out to them. Is that something you can behind the scenes help tweak? Is there a way even to do that?
Yeah, I mean, so something I didn't touch on here and is taking people from that first touch point where they're showing some interest, and then there's things like marketing automation tools that are used that nurture them back to saying, here's why you should use our service, and you're a cleaning service. So are you commercial? Yes. Yeah. So why would a business want to use this commercial? Change, blog posts, changing from one commercial cleaner to another, blah, blah, these types of things. They might come in and start reading this. If you can get their email, you can then nurture them along the path using these tools. And that's going to definitely help more so from I think from a B2B side of things than, I mean, it works on consumer side too. You know, you didn't buy my product. I'm going to send you 3 emails over the next 3 weeks that's going to remind you to come back and buy it. So there's ways you have to hit these people up, because it does take 2, 3, 4 times for them to see something and to be communicated with before they actually decide to change. I mean, think about all of you on here. You have a great idea. Like, I must have a list of 15 things I want to do. I probably had that list for like 3 months because I just never get time to do it. And so if I'm searching for commercial cleaning and something else comes up with the kids, or something is snow falls and I've got a snowball the driveway, 3 days in a row, I'm probably not going to come back and think, gosh, I got to go back to that cleaning service. But if you sent me an email a week later, I'm like, thank you. That's exactly, I forgot it was on my list. Thank you. I want to move on with that or something. So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to
There
be
are
in
ways
touch
to
with
do
you.
okay, cool.
What
Anything else?
could you just one quick thing? Can you give me an example of what an alt
Alt tag for an
description?
images.
Yeah,
So
like does
if
it
we're
have to
looking
be
at,
very descriptive?
it doesn't have to be that descriptive. It's helpful if you want your image to really be found in search and such. It's helpful from a lower end on SEO. You don't want to put like every icon on your website doesn't have to say, oh, it's an icon of an arrow. Don't have to put arrow. It's kind of a, or background image. But like if we're putting together on the Exton, website, and we have a ribbon cutting ceremony, we might want to say, hey, this is the ribbon cutting ceremony for so-and-so's business. And that would be your alt tag. One, if a screen reader would be able to read that, search engines can kind of index that, and they have a potential of coming up in Google image search. So it's very helpful. Like if I would want to know Exton Chamber ribbon cutting, if I search and I go to, and that's why I find a lot of images for when I'm doing the website.
Yeah.
I'll search Exton Chamber and I'll look for an image in Google Images, and I found a bunch of stuff to use. So
I wonder who
that's what alt tags do.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. All right. Well, that's awesome. We did it in an hour, people. Does anybody have anything to add or ask before we go? I appreciate, Jeff, that you are here and sharing this information with us today, and that you will be following up with a document, and I will be happy to share with everybody that. And I hope I get to see you next month. It's always going to be the second Thursday of the month at noon. So I don't know if anybody else has anything for the good of the order, or if we can just go on with our day.
Do you have a topic for that one? Do you have a speaker lined up?
I don't. I have one for April, but nothing else. But my favorite topic so far is, well, there's a couple. Where is it? The elephant in the Zoom, how to recognize, pivot, and recover from those awkward video moments.
Could be a cat too.
I know.
Yeah.
Or how to own the Zoom like you own the room,
I think that's pretty good. That's still fitting.
right? To post
Yep.
or not to post? That is the question.
Don't.
Are you smarter than your smartphone? How to stay technologically in the know without going back to school. So I have my work cut out for me,
These are good.
for sure.
Yeah, you did a good. You had that list. We should share that out with people then.
I know. I perfected it yesterday with Sienna McKinley. For people that don't know her, she kind of has lots of energy. So she gave some of these ideas and names, and like one of them is using social media to decide what the topic's going to be, which would be really cool too,
Yep.
Because even with everything opening up, hopefully over time, there is still going to be the component of Zoom, even if we're all tired of it. There is still going to be us singing, right, Jeff, on a call. So anyway, have a great rest of the day. Stay safe, stay happy. Thank you for all you do for the Exton Chamber. And we'll connect you with what Jeff gave us as soon as I get it. All right.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
you.
Bye.